But then again, if you see him step into a ring with Ortiz, we may see a completely different guy, especially if he gets touched.
Man, he gonna cook Ortiz. He gonna cook
Lord.
Ortiz just like he just got done cooking Zayas. Look, man.
But that was expected, though.
Listen to me.
You're talking about Zayas, a guy that isn't known for his punching power at all. That was
or his speed,
or
really his skills. He checks boxes at a decent level, but not at an elite level. Boots has the talent to do it.
Yes.
Does he have the skill to do it?
That's what we have to wait and see. And the only way that we're really going to be able to see that, we see him in some really top elite competition.
Fundora, that's what we need to see.
Fundora, the Ortizes, guys like that.
Max Kellerman and Timothy Bradley have cautioned Vergil Ortiz Jr. about the risks of stepping into the ring with Jaron "Boots" Ennis, believing it could be an even tougher challenge than many expect. Kellerman also describes Ennis as one of boxing's most naturally talented fighters, praising his incredible speed, explosive power, and unwavering confidence. Even so, he believes one major question still remains: how Ennis will perform when truly tested by an elite-level opponent.
Here's the best-case scenario for Boots. Boots is like, in a way, to me, a version of Zab Judah in the sense that he is so physically talented. He's faster than everyone, he hits harder than everyone, he wants to smoke. But he has certain vulnerabilities underneath the surface level, and you want to know how deep is his bag if the going gets rough against another super fighter, right? But I think the best case scenario.
Expanding on that discussion, Andre Berto and Timothy Bradley analyzed how Ennis reacted after facing serious adversity in his most recent fight. Berto questioned whether the same strategy would be enough against a dangerous finisher like Ortiz, while Bradley defended Ennis by highlighting the adjustments he made after being hurt. Their debate centered on whether those changes would be effective against a relentless puncher with Ortiz's style.
Feeling, you understand that, right?
But another thing that I didn't like as well, once he got touched, he didn't switch his game up at all. He just stood right in the pocket and did what
He didn't need to in the end, though, Andre.
He just did what Philly fighters do: stay in the pocket and just bang it out. He can get in big trouble fighting a guy like Ortiz.
You got too much Philly in him, Tim.
Too much Philly in him, Tim. I'm telling you.
Listen to me. He fights off of feeling, man. What I'm talking about. So if he don't feel you got any punch, guess what? He's willing to stand there and exchange with you.
He literally got hurt.
That's fine.
He got hurt.
That's fine.
So he knew that he had.
But did you see? But did you see the reaction that he made?
Yes.
He stuck. He tied him up. He bought himself some time, and then what did he do? He came back and blitzed him with combinations.
Yes, but he can't do that with everybody.
He won't do that with everybody.
Meanwhile, Robert Garcia believes Ennis presents a difficult challenge for every top fighter in the division, including both Sebastian Fundora and Vergil Ortiz Jr. While he highly respects Ennis's skill set and believes he has the potential to become one of boxing's biggest stars, Garcia feels Ortiz's constant pressure, punching power, and aggressive approach would ultimately give him the advantage. Because of that, Garcia predicts Ortiz would eventually stop Ennis if they ever shared the ring.
And the bigger, it could turn out to be a much better fight. I think both are warriors, showed it, and I think style-wise, it's a beautiful fight.
You're picking Fundora. Is that based off of Boots getting hurt, or is that just because Fundora's kind of been on a roll recently?
But both. I think after we all seen that Boots does get hurt and he got hurt, I think everybody could feel the same way about Fundora versus Boots, Vergil versus Boots. Fundora is showing that he's got great power too, but he's just too awkward, too difficult, too tall for anybody. So that's why that's my opinion. I could be wrong, and Boots goes and destroys Fundora. That'd be beautiful too. He's in boxing. He's a great name for boxing. Great fighter that could become the next big superstar also. But look, I have Vergil in the same weight division. So obviously we have to also push for that. Because I believe Vergil beats him. I think Vergil hits him. Vergil knocks him out. So
even with that opinion, Robert Garcia admits that Ennis versus Ortiz is an even more exciting matchup than a fight against Fundora. He believes their aggressive styles and willingness to exchange punches would create the most entertaining contest possible, especially after Ennis recently proved he can battle through difficult moments. In Garcia's eyes, the matchup has everything needed for a thrilling fight.
I would probably say, you know, not just because Vergil's my fighter, but I think Boots versus Vergil is probably a bigger fight and a bigger, it could turn out to be a much better fight. I think both are warriors. They showed it. And I think style-wise, it's a beautiful fight.
Chris Algieri also believes Ennis must improve his defensive skills before facing dangerous opponents like Sebastian Fundora or Vergil Ortiz Jr. He feels the openings Ennis showed during his last performance could be punished much more severely by bigger and stronger rivals. Although Algieri expects those flaws to be addressed during training camp, he believes the real challenge will be applying those improvements under the pressure of fight night.
You know, what happens if that is a Fundora, if that is a Vergil Ortiz when he's taking that fire?
You know, I had a lot of people ask me, like, well, how do you see, you know, Ennis with those guys? I'm like, listen, if he gets hit the way he did in round 3 as he did with Xander, those guys are completely different punchers. So that could be a different kind of result. But you also got to think, a guy who's as good as he is and as dynamic as he is, will he fight the same way if he has more danger coming his way? Which we saw that at 147. 147, he might get hit. The guys couldn't hurt him. So now he's at 54. Guys are punching much differently, and then he's even talked about going up to 68 eventually. That's where he sees himself ultimately capping out. So yeah, the defense has got to step up. Best fighters in the world don't get hit cleanly and more than once at a time. So if he's going to make those adjustments with those guys, I think that's something they're gonna attack during camp. Being able to do it on Fight Night Under the Lights is another thing, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's going to be exciting.
Chris Algieri also describes this weight class as one of the strongest in boxing, filled with elite contenders capable of defeating one another. He points to Sebastian Fundora, Vergil Ortiz Jr., Josh Kelly, and Jaron Ennis as fighters who each bring unique styles and different strengths into the ring. At the same time, he believes every one of them has weaknesses that can be exposed. For that reason, Algieri feels the biggest questions will only be answered once they finally face each other.
Listen, I am Vergil's my guy. You know, I know Robert Garcia really well. I've known Vergil for a long time. Robert's been telling me about Vergil for years. But I like what he brings to the table. But these guys are also good. Fundora is a puzzle to figure out. Vergil is so solid in everything. And Josh Kelly's a tricky style that he employs really well. He knows what he is, he knows what he isn't. And then you got Boots, who's just wildly talented and talent's off the charts, but there are some lapses there. So I think all of these guys have a lot of upside. I think they have a lot of they have their holes, which again makes the division very exciting. But I want to see them all fight each other because it's one of those things where boxing math doesn't work. It's like, oh, because he can beat this guy. It doesn't work like that. I want to see them all fight each other, and the real proving ground is in the ring.
100%, man.
Chris Mannix also believes Ennis versus Ortiz is the fight fans want to see more than any other. However, based on the information he has received, Ortiz is expected to take one more bout before challenging Ennis. Mannix believes that plan still keeps the highly anticipated showdown on course, with the fight potentially happening in the near future.
I'm a boxing fan, I'm, Eddie Hearn, but my understanding is that Vergil is more likely to take another fight before going into a fight with Boots. He hasn't, I keep reading this stuff, people he's been off for a year. Oh, he hasn't. He fought in November, right? It's now June, so he hasn't been off that long. But it is my understanding that as part of this resolution with Golden Boy, we are going to see Vergil face somebody else before he takes on Boots Ennis. So that fight is coming.
Looking further ahead, Bernie the boxer focused on the biggest challenges that could shape Ennis's future in the division. He believes Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Sebastian Fundora are the two opponents most capable of determining Ennis's path moving forward. In Bernie's opinion, victories over those fighters would prove Ennis belongs at the very top. If he succeeds, Bernie believes there will be no limit to what Ennis can accomplish.
I can see him, definitely the Vergil Ortiz fight is going to bring a lot, As always, when the Hispanic community comes out against a black fighter, it's always a great rivalry, high stakes, high level. And, I think Vergil was a better version of the other kid last night than Zayas. And so that gave him a good look into that, And so that's a tremendous fight. If he wants to be number one, of course he has to go through Fundora, and that's going to be a difficult fight. But if he overcomes those things, man, that's he's putting himself in the right position you know, to just to the sky's the limit for him. You can get past those guys.
Continuing the conversation, Teddy Atlas considers a potential fight between Ennis and Ortiz one of the division's most fascinating matchups. He points to the confidence, durability, and body punching both men possess, making it an outstanding stylistic battle. Atlas also praises Ortiz for proving he is much more than a heavy puncher after displaying additional skills in a difficult contest. In his opinion, that versatility makes a fight with Ennis even more intriguing.
Ortiz, it'll be, it could be a phone booth fight. Two good body punches, two confident guys, two guys with great heart. Look, I say this, Vergil showed me a few fights ago that he had a dimension I didn't know he had. When he was just, going through guys, knocking them out with body shots, sinking and destroying. I don't think I knew or anyone knew that he had the ability to use his legs and box and do some boxing. He showed me that dimension. He showed me that dimension in that fight that some people thought he lost. First fight that he got tested. We didn't get a knockout. With
Sergey Bohachuk.
There it is. There it is. I wanted you to say his name. I just want to hear you say.
Along those same lines, the analyst explains why he still wants to see Ennis face Ortiz despite the mixed opinions following Ennis's latest performance. He believes the matchup remains a crucial step in Ennis's development and could play a significant role in determining what comes next. For him, the outcome would provide the clearest indication of where Ennis truly stands among the division's elite.
Vergil Ortiz fight, they were obviously in negotiations. Lots of people say, I don't want to see the fight because they felt like Xander Zayas was a better fighter than Vergil Ortiz. I feel like you still got to see it. You know what I mean? I think you still got to build Jaron Ennis's resume up. Think about it. He beats Vergil Ortiz, gets a big lead up to a Fundora fight. But how successful is he in those fights, right? Vergil Ortiz doesn't have the IQ of a Xander Zayas. But I feel like when he runs his combinations, they come in a little bit quicker, come in a little bit stronger.
Sean Zittel also believes Ortiz has exactly the style needed to create one of the most entertaining fights possible with Ennis. He highlights Ortiz's rapid combinations, aggressive mentality, and non-stop pressure as qualities that would make the matchup especially exciting. Zittel also feels Ortiz brings greater power and intensity than Xander Zayas, making him an even tougher challenge. In his view, the fight has every ingredient needed for a non-stop action battle.
That's an amazing fight because Ortiz he's not known for his velocity, but he does bring really good punching velocity, aka speed, and he's an incredible combination puncher. And he's not going to make the mistake of what you're saying of trying to outbox Vergil or Jaron Ennis. He's going to make it a firefight and go blow for blow. And oh my God, on paper, what a fight that should play out to be. And he has more firepower than Xander Zayas. And he's meaner and more ferocious than Xander Zayas, whose advantage over Ortiz is supposed to be his boxing acumen and a little bit more versatility to moving around the ring and all that. But Ortiz has an excellent jab, an excellent double jab, very fast hands that can challenge the hand speed in the exchanges of Jaron Ennis, and power that can challenge the punching power of Jaron Ennis in those vicious exchanges that are sure to break out. And before I get to the other guy who had a comment.
From a different angle, Sean Zittel believes Ennis's most recent performance may actually make future fights against Ortiz and Sebastian Fundora easier to arrange. He explains that Ennis showed enough vulnerability to give those teams greater confidence about accepting the challenge. As a result, Zittel expects both sides to have even stronger motivation to pursue the matchup. In his opinion, that could speed up negotiations instead of slowing them down.
Is now Vergil Ortiz and Fundora think they could whoop his ass? And if he had just blown him out in 2 rounds, then he didn't. He showed enough vulnerability that the other guys will jump at the opportunity to fight him, as they should. If you're Vergil Ortiz or Fundora, you think you knock him out if you're landing those same shots. Maybe you do. So you'll actually probably get the fight sooner rather than later. Not have to wait an excruciatingly long time. So And it makes it fun to watch.
Despite the ongoing debate, Robert Garcia remains confident that Ortiz has everything needed to defeat Ennis if they eventually meet. He believes Ortiz's relentless pressure and heavy-handed offense would gradually overwhelm Ennis throughout the contest. Garcia feels that if Ortiz consistently lands clean punches, the fight will eventually end with a stoppage victory.
I think if Vergil is able to, fight Boots and we were able to get those punches, I think it's over. I think Vergil is not going to hold back. Vergil has great, insane power at 154. So I think Vergil will finish him.
Even so, Robert Garcia firmly believes Ortiz does not require another tune-up fight before challenging Ennis. He rejects the suggestion that Ortiz should take an additional bout first, hinting that such conversations may be coming from the opposing side instead. Garcia insists his team is completely ready to move straight into a showdown with Ennis whenever the opportunity becomes available.
Does it make sense for Vergil to come straight into an Ennis fight or take a tune-up? How would you see it as his trainer? What would you recommend?
No problem. We would do it. Look, I know Eddie mentioned something about maybe Vergil needs or is going to want a comeback fight. No, that's not the case. Maybe that's what he wants for Boots. Maybe that's why he's trying to push that on us, to try to get Boots something else before that. But no, we'll go straight into that fight.
Sean Zittel also believes Ortiz will gain plenty of confidence after watching Ennis's latest performance. He expects Ortiz to see that fight as proof there will be opportunities to capitalize on if they eventually meet. Zittel believes that added belief will only increase Ortiz's desire to secure the matchup. In his opinion, Ennis's recent showing has made the potential fight even more appealing.
Oh, if I land those same shots like Xander Zayas did, I'm going to take it a step further and knock him out. Just like Xander Zayas. If this guy Chukajan, who's not the fighter I am, is giving all these angles and frustrating him and making him reach, then I'll take it another step further and until you get in there.
Ariel Helwani, however, remains convinced that the next fight should unquestionably be Ennis versus Ortiz. He argues that Ortiz now has every reason to push for the matchup after publicly calling for it in the past. According to Helwani, no other fight deserves a higher priority right now. Even with major alternatives like Sebastian Fundora available, he believes Ennis versus Ortiz is still the matchup boxing should focus on delivering.
The fight to make still is Ortiz versus Boots. And if you're Vergil Ortiz, if you are Vergil Ortiz, you can't talk that and not do everything in your power to make this fight. I don't care what your deal is with Oscar. I don't care what your deal is with your management, with your promoter. You can't talk that shit on Saturday when the fight was right there. It was literally right there. And then there was all this litigation and all this stuff. And then it went to Zayas. Now you have to do it. Now you have to do it, because to me, it is more cowardly to not take the fight now and blame it on X, Y, and Z than to quit, as you say, like Xander Zayas. Now you have to take the fight. Now you have to do everything in your power to make the fight happen, to orchestrate whatever needs to be done to make this fight happen, because it's a bigger fight than Fundora versus Boots or Josh Kelly versus Boots, which are big fights, especially the Fundora one.
Chad Johnson also sees Ortiz as the perfect next opponent for Ennis following his latest victory. He explains that the growing rivalry between the two has only fueled even greater interest among fans. Johnson also reflected on Ennis's recent performance, suggesting he deliberately chose a more aggressive style than usual. In his view, that performance only increases the excitement surrounding a possible showdown with Ortiz.
But I think the next fight for Boots is Vergil Ortiz.
I
think Vergil Ortiz, especially with him talking.
Oh yeah, he jumped. I just read you his tweet, Ocho. Yeah. If I get him like that, I promise you, I get him out of there.
Hey, Boots had a game plan today. I'm gonna come out aggressive. I'm not fighting at range. I'm not fighting at distance. I'm finna sit in this pocket and go. It seems as if Boots challenged himself to do something different. I'm gonna show y'all.
Keith Iduk believes Ennis versus Ortiz has become an even stronger attraction after Ennis's latest outing. He points out that both fighters possess dangerous offensive abilities while also showing defensive weaknesses that could be exploited. Iduk expects those contrasting strengths and flaws to create an extremely competitive battle. In his opinion, Ennis versus Ortiz remains one of the biggest fights boxing can make today.
Boots is maybe the most dynamic offensive fighter in the entire sport. So he's going to have his own issues dealing with what's coming back at him. So he's not going to be maybe as aggressive as he would be against lesser opponents. So I think it makes it all the more interesting on both sides because there is vulnerability in both of these guys. And what happened in the third round last night was, we couldn't have asked for something. He goes and beats Zayas the way that people thought they would beat him. But you now have this storyline where Boots isn't invincible after all. Not that anyone really thinks any fighter is invincible because they all get beat at some point usually. But now you have these questions about him, and Ortiz is a huge puncher and a very aggressive guy. So I just think it makes that fight all the more appealing.
Whether this fight happens next or sometime later, one fact is becoming impossible to ignore. Ennis versus Ortiz has developed into one of boxing's most anticipated matchups. With respected analysts like Max Kellerman and Timothy Bradley continuing to share their opinions, the debate over who holds the advantage keeps growing stronger. Both fighters still have plenty to prove, and if this showdown is officially confirmed, it could significantly shape the future of the division. Now we want to hear from you. Who do you believe wins if Ennis and Ortiz finally meet inside the ring? Can Ortiz become the first fighter to defeat Boots? Or will Ennis prove once again why so many consider him one of boxing's elite? Leave your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest boxing news, updates, and expert analysis.